Hello, welcome back to Project Incentition. I'm your host, Andrew Mallet, and we are back with Karen and lucyk McDonald, 13th White Bear Clan mother. And we are going to be talking about cacao and the many uses of it. Come on in, Karen, and tell us what you got.
Well, let's see. Now we're on the road again, and we're back in the kitchen with a few more supplies. And I did put up another teepee. I'll let you know today. Anyway, I just want to thank everyone at Project Incention and all the listeners and viewers. A lot of stuff has been happening, and so we're back looking after some things in this area today. And I thought what I'd do is actually, I know a lot of people have been asking about what we've been doing with raw cacao, or as people say, holy chocolate. It's not cocoa, it's not cooked, and it's actually uncooked. Okay, so this is the, raw product. This is right off the tree. Just like me, hanging off the trees these days. So what we want to do is we want to show people how to do things very, very simply. And I'm just going to go through a really quick presentation. And we're going to talk a little bit about health, because this is really about getting alkalized, using minerals, using different substances that have been around for all time and eternity, but using them properly. And so I use them with my clients for one, pain relief, one of the best delivery sources of minerals, vitamins, hormones, and also animite I'll talk about, which is kind of like a cannabinoid. And so this is amazing. And I was really delighted to spend some time learning with people that say like David Wolf, or meeting with, Dr. Robert Kazar and stuff like that. And I used to have Steve Adler off Sacred Chocolate in my on my radio show. So one of the other people that's really amazing too is Marcus Rothkrantz and Kara Brotman. And so I'm bringing that to your attention to start looking up raw vegan chocolate, because this is what I would do with my clients to get them off their diabetic medication, off their painkillers, off their antidepressants, that type of thing. Because once it hits, actually we'll use a little bit of cayenne. We're going to talk a little bit about the Aztecs, as people think the original Mayans. A lot of people are using these with the youth to get them off their addictions, smoking, drugs, alcohol, antidepressants. Because if you're feeling good and we can heal the mind, we got a shot at having an exciting new planet. And I think we all would love that, right?
Right.
So I think like most problems, it starts in the kitchen, and that's with the stuff we started being fed, when we were little. So now it's kind of teaching people to uncook. Instead of having a war on their food, we're going to have raw. Just flip the words around. That's all it is. So anyway, what I want to do is we're going to talk about tree food. So everything in here is going to be used, will be a superfood. And by that, I mean it's off usually a tree as a rule. And so we're going to talk about coconut oil, coconut syrup. We'll be talking about raw cacao trees, goji berry trees, that type of thing will be used in this recipe. And you can do it with as little as 5 ingredients. So you don't have to go out and get gobs of things that aren't around, because all the stuff I got up here was either at what we call we have Safeway, I have superstores, I have bulk barns, and we're starting to see it in the winters up here. So, and again, you can go online and get it too, right directly from people. So I wanted to bring that up. So we'll be using raw cacao butter. And for most people, if they've never seen it, we'll be discussing butter. And you can actually shave it off and eat it. It's the basis to all cosmetics. It's great for skincare. So I make my own skincare using that and coconut oil. Okay, so that's basically, if you just use a double boiler and just get it down to a melt, and then you can put all sorts of things in there, essential oils. We'll talk about even suppositories, because I use a lot of these things together. And we've been also having different people put it together with cannabinoids, which is, as you know, the cannabism, or as people think, medical marijuana and stuff. A little different application. You can even use it just, for most people, we can use actually hemp seeds or hemp hearts in there. And that's got enough just for healing medicinal purposes as well. So this is, instead of sunflower seeds, it's just using hemp seed. And again, this is an industrial cannabism, and I mean, that's what's in our clothing. We're wearing hemp clothing. So it's either, from the seed, or I'm wearing it or something, which, by the way, protects you from radiation. So it gives you about 40 to 50% UV protection as opposed to. So that's a natural sunscreen that you're doing, which is really, really important these days. And so it's going to be basically, as I said, the raw cacao. We're going to use the coconut oil a little bit. And we're going to use, of course, what we call Himalayan salt or black salt. And then the other thing, a little bit of cayenne pepper. It opens up, vasodilates, and boom. all this great medicine with all the serotonin and neurotransmitters and receptor sites get excited. And then the other thing I'm going to be talking about, we'll be putting in essential oils. Okay, so I'll be using different things like peppermint. I might put in lemon. I might have orange, frankincense, essential oils, and of course I've got powdered vanilla here. And I also have got something that's very, very exciting, which is vanilla powder. These are all aphrodisiacs, by the way. So there's going to be a cacao essential oil too, and some vanilla powder, and I've got vanilla essential oil. So how you choose to put it in is up to you. For people that have nut allergies and stuff like that, I use raw nuts, unpasteurized, and for the most part, nuts are soaked. These are cashews, by the way. So you could use sunflower seeds. The other thing too is to use something, let's say like maybe if I want some organic coconut. So it doesn't take long to get this going. I will be using basically just, you can go to the dollar store, or we have up here Canadian Tire or Walmart. And these are basically silicone based, almost like ice cube trays, but instead of cupcakes, they come in different sizes. And actually you can freeze the chocolate and pop it out. So that's actually what we're going to be doing. So you don't need a whole lot of stuff, and you don't even have to run out. You can get these ice cube trays now at $1 or $2. And gosh, if you don't have it, even that, I put them into just the bottom of like, just Tupperware when I'm on the road. I have the liners here. These are mini baking cups. By the way, these are without any bleach or anything too. Okay, so very important. Try to get as clean as you can. I'll be using wood, utensils or bamboo. And the other thing I'll be using a lot of on here, you can use as a sweetener, xylitol, maple syrup. I use still raw agave, clear, plant-based. I don't use honey. And the other thing will be the raw cacao. And this has got some lucuma in it and some coconut sugar. So again, you can get it from whatever you'd like to. So you only need 5 things: cacao butter, cacao, and just one other thing, if you're looking as well, there's something called cacao paste. So you don't need an awful lot of ingredients. If you've got the cacao paste, great. If not, you can just do butter and coconut oil. You don't need an awful lot. And I'm just going to go through a little presentation. And right now I'm just actually on the stove here warming up a little bit of, it's a double boiler system. Okay, so this is actually just heating up here. It's the only time you'll ever see me doing something with hot water, really. But anyway, it's just steaming up here, and what we're going to do is we're going to actually just put the raw cacao butter in there now. So I'm just going to put a little bit in here just for demonstration purposes today. Okay, so usually it's about a cup of raw cacao butter and roughly about a cup of the powder. It's almost in equal amounts. So that's going to go right into my little double boiler right now. My hands are clean, by the way. I'm washed down with essential oils and stuff too. A lot of people get sometimes hung up on things, but I make sure my hands are clean and I use them with essential oils because there's something about also your hands feeding people and stuff. It's considered quite an honor to do that. So I'm just putting in, again, about a cup of the cacao butter and the cacao paste, and I'm just going to let that have literally its little meltdown. And I'm going to put a little bit of actually coconut oil in here. And the other thing I'm having in, this is actually liquefied already. It's warm enough up here. This one sits in my fridge right now. Otherwise, it looks like this. And that's great if I want to do massages or quickly salad dressing oil or something like that. So we're just going to put in roughly maybe about 2-3 teaspoons in there. Not very much. What I am going to stick in there is a couple dashes of cayenne pepper, 40,000 heat units. You can go higher if you want. And you can put in a little bit of, if you want Himalayan salt or black salt or something, your choice. And what I'm going to start doing is actually using a little bit of, this is amazing vanilla. If you've ever had this, it's just absolutely incredible. This is actually... can you show that again? Yeah. Just about a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla powder. Okay? Now, those are for people using the powder. However, what I do have in here is something called vanilla essential oil. And that's off Eden's Gardens. And I'll talk a little bit about here. I think I have like 5-6 grams here. So if you want to, don't hesitate to put some essential oil in. That's actually what gives it the lift. I'm also going to put in I might put in some cacao essential oil, which is chocolate essential oil. And let's say I might want some lemon or a wild orange or something like that. There's lemon essential oil. And maybe I might want the second batch to have some peppermint or something. Okay? So you can use 1, 2, or as many as you want. There's no right or wrong to this. And then one of the other things I'll do down the road, I'm going to show you that we have up here. It's called super red powder. So this has got basically about 20 different ingredients of like ground up hawthorn and mango and all sorts of great things in here. We've got all the blueberries, strawberries, so you can actually put it in with berries. This is also ground up goji. I'll be using that. Something we call organic maca. And that's a Amazonian aphrodisiac as well for hormones. So a lot of people, they're called adaptogens or dual or biodirectional. It means if you're too high or too low, it brings it back to normal. And this one is also super greens if people like. It's another way for people to get an all-in-one meal replacement and start putting things together. So, and a lot of times I'll decorate different things. I'll put in maybe some hemp seeds and stuff too. So right now it's just having this little meltdown. It's the only time you ever see me have a meltdown in the kitchen, I think, when I'm doing raw chocolates. Because basically what we're going to do is just go through the little bit of a presentation while this is just having its meltdown. And at the end, what I intend to have happen will be this chocolate. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do, is actually how to do this. I call it my freezer chocolate because I can do it in less than probably 6 minutes. So from the time I actually put all the ingredients in and let it just have its, blending little moment, to the time I put it in the freezer to the time I can actually eat it, is less than half an hour.
Wow.
Yeah. Not that it ever lasts that long. I've been giving it out all over today. And so I'm quite famous up here. They know I'm coming with chocolate. So if it's okay with you, I think we'll just go right into that presentation.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to just screen share here for a second. And just let me know we can see everything there.
Yeah, see everything.
Okay. Well, chocolate, I got touched by what they call the spirit of the cacao. So I kind of know what David Wolfe means now. And David Wolfe is probably one of the most famous ones outside of, probably Quetzalcoatl and everyone else down there, And a lot of people are starting what's called dance parties. They're starting sacred ceremonies up here, and they're using the cacao. And by the way, in the original words, it was actually with K. So it was C-A-C-A-O, but what the flip. Anyway, this is what we call cosmic activation and stuff like that. So you're seeing a lot of people starting these dance parties. Okay? And again, we can start using cacao in many different forms. These are actually raw vegan. We can do cookie dough, and this is actually ice cream that I just made the other night for the children. You can use bananas or avocados, or in this case, what they did is they took a couple cups of cashews. And these cashews can actually be just blended up and made with your favorite nuts or whatever, and put in with some vanilla and some chocolate, and actually just look at even in at the bottom there, you can see a glass container. So, I mean, there are different ways in here. And the reason I'm doing it this way is I went off the internet and I did basically cut and pasting. So you can go later, stop the video if you want some of these recipes. And I usually do things a lot of Nouveau Raw, Raw Amazing. I'll show you some of the books that we use. And also off excellent stuff is Mark Rothkrantz and Carol Brotman's book called Love on a Plate. So they've got lots. And again, it's Sacred Chocolate with Steve Adler and David Wolfe. These are very simple to make and very healthy for children. So again, you could just whip up some bananas and put that in there and make it very edible. And again, this is something I would not hesitate, and I do give this to children for breakfast, by the way. Okay, I'm going to talk about 20 super vegan foods made with raw cacao. And again, I just Googled these, as you see at the top. This is One Green Planet. And I do a lot of this stuff, obviously, on Facebook. This is actually a raw chocolate mousse, and the cacao is simply added into an avocado. So this is amazing because it contains a lot of the antioxidants, and this is a great way to start using vegetables and fruits and stuff together. This is a great book. It's called Amazing Grace. And this is actually by David Wolfe and Dr. Nick Good. And it's a phenomenal book actually about people getting back to basics. And it has a really interesting, kind of an esoteric look at different things, but it's got a lot of great recipes in there and about being in a state of forgiveness and doing things with Ho'oponopono. So it's a little outside his normal like raw chocolate and superfoods books, but it's got the 9 principles in there to living naturally. An animide is actually a word, and I'll be talking that it's close to cannabinoid. And again, an animide in Sanskrit, one of the original languages, is basically, it means bliss, to be in a state of joy and bliss. And so it's the actual chemicals or alchemical formulas that basically put people into this state. This is actually one of my friends. This is Angela Monarch, and they're at what's called Raw World. And she lost over 160 pounds. She was 300 and some pounds. So when you start seeing the transition of people that we take from, you know, that have been ill, and I'll just give you an update. I've dealt with 2 people already that they've had prostate cancer where their PSAs were close to 16, 17, and are now down to like 7. And that's just in a couple weeks doing these techniques.
That's amazing how you can transform the body just by eating right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the problem starts in here. That's why I'm bringing all my clients into the kitchen. After I do biofeedback, and I make them stick out their tongue and kind of do like traditional tribal, you know, Chinese medicine or Asian medicine and Vedic stuff. And then I bring them into the kitchen. I show them how to look at replacing things again. Again, when we're talking about raw, who's, you know, backing this? Lots of people like Tony Robbins. These are peak performance coaches and stuff too. And I was laughing with you. I said, you know, I went to Calgary to the seed event, and there was a whole raw chocolate weekend in Calgary. And I was invited there by the people putting on the extravaganza. And so there was like, I don't know, 120 people, and David Wolfe was coming in to talk. And I'd just come off my crutches, hobbled up to him, gave him an enema bag, and that was it. He became, you know, acquainted after that. But what's really funny is that weekend, they're having huge things. They're doing Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory and all sorts of things that people come in, and they were teaching them to come off the grid, i.e. off the monetary system like Ubuntu. And so what they did is some of the people were actually doing what they think more like the barter. And so, you know, they paid for their ticket, and then they got, you know, 5 cacao beans to go around to all the different vendors and use cacao as their currency, as their, you know, what they were using. And it was interesting because I had done some gifting and got that back and talked with them ahead of time. And it was rather amazing because later that weekend, I got 5 cacao beans off them, and they made this big heart for me, which was really cool. So I spent the whole weekend enjoying that. And then later he told me, as you see here, 30 cacao seeds were for a rabbit, and they were used not only for fortune, but drinking chocolate. It was one of the few luxuries the Aztecs could do. And that was usually kept among primarily what they called the clans, like who would have been the priests, the priestesses, their warriors, and their honored people, but, you know, basically for the nobility. And a lot of this was stolen and kept in the monarchy and stuff like that. But this was supposed to be, according to the legends, you know, as I think, the white-plumed, you know, serpent and all that, Quetzalcoatl, who brought a heavenly cacao to earth. And so basically it was considered a blasphemous act to give it to the, you know, the humans, you know, that were cast out of the heavens, so to speak. So it was interesting that actually when you I was looking at this, you know, because a turkey was like 200, and an avocado was 3, and a tomato was 1, and a tamale was 1. But, you know, I was laughing with you, Andrew, and I said, do you know what, you know, and we'll find out later that actually a slave was for 100. It was right on the whole thing. So a human was actually, you know, traded for, you know, the same thing as a turkey, a cow kind of thing, that sort of thing. But you know what they were doing for women?
No.
They actually were, it was about 5. So that tells you the value of some of the things at some point that was going on here. So I kind of laughed because when, you know, I went there, David Wolfe gave me actually the 5 cacao beans or whatever when I went into this thing. I came back because I had given him 13. And I said, I got to watch, because between some tribes that could be an engagement, you know, like instead of the bride price and the dowry. I said, I've got to really watch what you do with this people. So I was like, oh geez, you know. And that's kind of funny because he's not my type. Obviously, I may be positive and tribal, and he's O negative. You'll find a lot of people. So we consider, you know, they could be a little alien here too. But anyway, you got to watch what you do these days, right? It's all in great fun. And they've done a lot of pivotal things here, including his spinaspring.com, getting water for people. Okay, so that was actually, you know, very kind of fun there, just looking at that. Anyway, we've got avocados. Avocados are amazing. Great food off of a tree. I use lots of them just with Himalayan salt. You can actually take that avocado, whip it up into a NutriBullet or into a mini chop or something, or a blender, and add your cacao in with a little agave or maple syrup or coconut syrup. And that's delicious as a chocolate mousse. It's amazing. So that, or you could put it on your face later too. Either way, it's a great mask. But that's something you can do in literally seconds. Instead of the avocado, I could actually substitute off a banana or a plantain or something too. Amazing stuff. Doesn't that look delicious?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, you guys should all be watering by the time I'm done this and we have a meltdown in my cacao. Again, just Google some of the stuff here. You see a lot of the different things going back to the Aztec calendar. Like I said, what they were doing, they were actually trading. Like, you know, when they came down there in Cortez and stuff, and they came down to the islands, you know, they were throwing cacao beans and everyone dove for it, you know, apparently, because, you know, it was worth instead of their money, right? And that's where the thing ceremony, you know. But anyway, different things in there. And again, this is where we got to get back to, you know, basics. You know, we'll be doing like the law of gifting here instead. Angela's amazing. This is the point of going to raw food, or nouveau raw or raw amazing. And her and her husband, Mark Monarch, we've got a pivotal center. She's got a very life transformational story, as you can see there. That's 160 pounds on that woman. Whoa. And they're now raising raw food children. And we'll talk a little bit about being a nattiets and being a breatharian. That's, you know, next step. So raw food's one thing. Being a fruitarian is another thing. And then actually weaning off food and water could be possible for some people. These look delicious. I can make them all in like 30 seconds. So these are not different. They're called bliss balls, raw bites. These replace your basically Tim Hortons or whatever you have down there, like the donuts and little things. The robin's eggs they used to call up here. But these are so simple to do. They only take me seconds actually. There's another form of the bliss ball. And this is made out of slivered almonds. And again, soak your almonds, please, overnight. Let them dry out the next day in a dehydrator, or just let them solar dry, because basically you're taking the enzyme inhibitors off of them. But this could be done out of sunflower seeds. I do an awful lot, Andrew. Can you imagine? I use sunflower, and I'm probably one of the few people that make sunflower milk too.
Well,
you know, so a lot, again, if it's for people and think it's an expense to do cashews or almonds, you can actually substitute in sunflowers in any of these recipes actually. And I do combinations of a lot of stuff. You know, if you can't get a medjool date, then substitute organic raisin. If you can't find that, then substitute, you know, a fig or something, or date paste. Lots of ways around it. Again, you're seeing a lot of these, like, you know, ceremonies, they call them here. This is a sacred, you know, cacao ceremony. Everyone's got them in every city up here. And they're just being widespread throughout the planet. So basically it's awakening into deeper levels of what we call self-love, to accessing the heart space, or the fourth dimension. And this is being put on by Samantha Holmes, and she's with Planet Hemp, Conscious Planet, and HempCo. So these are the people bringing in the cacao with the hemp or cannabis. And that's what they do. They're running them in yoga studios, all sorts of things. Botanicals are amazing. We'll talk a little bit about Victoria Botanco. I absolutely adore this woman. Her and her children, they reversed everything. Diabetes, high blood pressure they had. She had, oh, it was terrible. Children with like sick since they got here with their genetics. And basically, we're now making raw borscht and raw petaha and raw nalisniki and everything that was maybe most people know in their ethnic groups, or, you know, a nalisniki is like what you would call like a crepe, or like a blintz, you know, or like a pancake. So we do it all in a raw way. Amazing woman, and they're now wild food foragers. So I used to actually gift out her book when I used to have clients in Saskatoon. Brian Clement, Hippocrates Health Institute. We'll talk about Optimal Health Institute, Garrison, all sorts of things. We're all saying the same thing. And this is from a movie called Going Raw, or Reversing Diabetes in 30 Days. Again, it's any condition. And again, very famous people. We're going to talk about making suppository, because the other thing is how can you use cacao. We can drink it in a drink. We can use it in food. We can use it with food. And we could use it as in suppository. So anyone that's having deep pain or problems, another way to do is actually rectal or vaginal implants you can do. I'm also going to be using raw cacao in my essential oils and in my, if you can imagine, yes, the enema bag. Again, making it with teas. A lot of people are using chaga tea, or they're adding the cacao to their teas or a little bit to their coffees even. And again, we now have alkaline water, and we've got alkaline coffee, and we have also chaga and reishi mushroom coffees that are out there too, dandelions, that are really delicious. And we're now starting to see alkaline, low acid coffee being done. I think it's amazing. Things are finally coming back. Doesn't that look almost inviting there? And I want to bring your attention, that's what the nibs are. So you see that, that's actually the chocolate nib. So that's basically ground up cacao. And then we just turn it into the powder after. Again, we got great restaurants, Cafe Gratitude, Gratitude Cafe, all sorts of different ones here. There's a little cheesecake in the bottom right. And again, you can see all the delicious stuff. Again, it's basically a natural form of kicking into your systems instead of using antidepressant medication. You cannot be in a state of anger or fear or trust or anything like that when you're in a state of happiness and bliss and joy. So the cacao or the chocolate, as you know it, and the cannabinoid also really go together in one sentence. And so a lot of them you're just trying to see here. Basically, they could be put into nut balls. People are now putting it in into the areas where they're available. And the cannabis indica and stuff like that, very well was used for relief medication and always has been. And so I just want to make a distinction. There's a big difference between the male and the female plant, and this does not get people high. This is just about getting healthy. And, you know, I'm wearing, like I said, you know, cannabis clothing, so, and ropes and stuff like that. And again, David Wolf just on ceremony there, doing the invoking the cacao ceremonies. This one was done in Amsterdam. So you can actually get these off YouTube and just do your own Googling. I do a lot of raw vegan cakes. We've got friends of ours. This is what our restaurants look like. This is what you can have for breakfast instead of just the peanut butter. It can get a little boring. But this could actually be done instead of your, I think you've got, what is it? Is there, one of the, what's your, we've got Dairy Queen and stuff I know up here, but Baskin Robbins and stuff like that. So
yeah, we have the same here.
Yeah, do you? Okay. I also have something called Coconut Bliss. It's a coconut made stuff that's all vegan, or with bananas you can whip it up, and you can use that in front of, instead of dairy and stuff. Amazing stuff. This literally only takes me like less than 10 minutes to put together. That crust could be the same, that bliss ball, that's just the bliss ball pushed down into a pie plate here. And that's like less than a few minutes to make. There's chocolate rolls, cinnamon rolls, all sorts of fun things. Is everyone salivating? I hope so, yet. Again, the cannabinoid and stuff like that, when we bring up what's the secrets of up here, it's basically theobromine. A lot of people are very caffeine conscious, and not that that's a bad thing, it's just how much you're doing. And in here, basically, it really doesn't have any caffeine. It's got something called theobromine in it. So I have it at night, and I don't have any problem sleeping. Again, the antibiotic and the tryptophan, I mean, that's what helps us with the serotonin and making everyone feel like that's the love chemical. And it has, you see that little chemical formulation on the bottom left? It's called the phenylalanine. Yeah. That is actually, do you know what? That's actually called the love chemical. Did you know that when they say, oh, I think I fell in love? There's a alchemical formula to that. How's that? So these are all the different substances found and linked to basically the brain chemicals. And so law of attraction, this is what you want to feel like, then that's who you got to be for law of attraction to, you know, attract into your life. That's the vibe of the tribe. And again, those pods like that tree, the pods grow right off the trees like that. It's amazing. This is something I brought just to your attention here. It's really interesting because down in a lot of the different areas in the Aztec and Mayan areas is that basically they always use basically cayenne pepper or capsicum or something like that with the cacao. It just goes together. And again, this is known alchemical stuff. We don't need a drug, pharmaceutical degree. So I think that's really, really cool there. That nut cool. So I just wanted to bring that in there. Now, the other thing too is to go into is doing a facial mask. Now, this is something that, again, is not just spa-ish, but it's actually used as a poultice and stuff like that for bringing things out. Some people even put some coffee. We put essential oils in. And again, it's used to bring toxins out and repair, because I know it looks like a dark brown food, but it's actually in the ultraviolet gamma. So cacao is actually basically indigo purple inside. So that's why it's so healthy for nourishing our brains and looking younger.
And the pineal gland.
I know, and look at that for skin repair. And even better than, this is the original Kama Sutra. Before these guys started putting in, did you read the labels, guys? It's that blue color and stuff is basically propylene glycol. So you're getting antifreeze if you're doing this stuff over the counter. Homemade raw chocolate, that's what we're gonna be making. So we're just actually melting that little bit of cacao down right now. About 3/4 of a cup. We're gonna put in a little bit of agave, a little bit of the vanilla, a little bit of salt, which we did, and the only thing we have left to do is put the cacao butter in. Okay, so yeah, there we go. There's our raw vegan chocolate chips. There's your cashews, almond meals, stuff like that. And again, the Mayans, like I said, Aztecs would use it to trade, unfortunately for slaves and everything else too, but like I said, I had to look at it and went, what do you mean a woman was only 5? You know, no. Anyway, again, this is the superfoods and raw foods in there. Great book. Again, Raw Food Advocate. This is from the movie, and there we'll talk. Bruce Lipton talks about epigenetics. This is getting back to your original cell. So as opposed to you're stuck with this familial disease, that's ridiculous. Dr. Gabriel Cousens is phenomenal. You want to see how to reverse most diseases? Right behind him is a live blood cell microscopy, and I do dark field on my skill biofeedback, but look up dark field microscopy or cell microscopy and just put in blood cell and then put in Valor or Young Living essential oils, and you will see the difference that this makes within minutes. We can actually start reversing some diseases within minutes and pathogens. I've had people that were paralyzed get up and walk in half an hour. I've had high blood pressure, cancer go away. I've seen people restore their hearing, their sight, getting off antidepressants. There isn't anything I haven't seen. I was dealing with a woman that was actually in a coma, and basically for resistant pathogens, MRSA and stuff. And I just did the biofeedback and did some of these different essential oils and sent the, you know, their people back in to the hospital, and it was gone the next day, and she was off the ventilator. There's another thing we haven't seen, you know, all of us doing this. Again, he made some great books. Some of the greatest books are called Spiritual Nutrition, Rainbow Cuisine, and Conscious Kitchen, Conscious Eating. Excellent books. Just look up Gabriel Cousens. He's got lots of stuff for free on YouTube, by the way. Joel Fuhrman, a lot of people have heard of. Eating to Live. We don't have diets, we live it. Different language. Okay, evil's one way, but we're living.
Right.
Okay. Again, Dr. Julian Whitaker. Okay, the whole trend now is that, and I've just been with some MDs today too. I've been getting calls. So a lot of the medical doctors are searching out and seeking my advice on a lot of stuff now. Dr. Robert Kazari, had the pleasure to be down in his place when I was down in San Diego doing matrix energetics with Dr. Richard Bartlett. Dr. Kazar is amazing. Again, using the Vitamix, using these superfoods. That's at his Hawaiian little stash. Again, what are we eating for? To get rid of stuff. And again, this is no different than your colon. This is no different than cross sections of the arteries and stuff. Plaque gets in there, and that's why the high blood pressure comes up, because you're getting less and less surface area. And that's why you can still poop down the center. People still have a bowel movement. Doesn't mean that you've got all this plaque, you know, breaking everything up here. Again, David Wolf's been up here, been on several cities to watch him. And again, longevity, you see the NutriBullet. So even putting a couple, you know, fruit and berries and sticking some dried cacao butter is some other way to go. Very well done. Cacao trees, you know, pineapple trees, all sorts of things are out there. That's in the Hawaii location there. Eating for Beauty, excellent book. This is actually what I teach out of here. You are what you absorb. You are what you eat. Beauty starts from the inside out. You'll see the curling photography and very simple recipes people can use. I'm going basically to tree foods and stuff, not really surface, and I'll show you the tower garden when we're done. Enema is another great way to do it. These are the supplies you can get. They're usually a couple dollars just at the local medical supply place or almost any pharmaceutical, even Walmart. You can order, and these are like a rubber one, but you can get a totally clear one for a fraction of that.
You can even pick those up at like CVS and Walgreens and stuff like that.
Absolutely. So again, people need to understand what this is. One is doing it for cleansing. So that's when we put what we want in there: baking soda, borax. I put my essential oils like lavender, clove, basil, rosemary into that. Some people use organic coffee. You can also use probably organic chocolate if you want to. People use lemon juice, apple cider vinegar, all your herb teas. You know, if people are used to peppermint tea, ginger tea, burdock. Again, 101 ways. There's no wrong way to do it. And I have never lost a client yet, by the way. And I've never blown one up using the machines either. On a machine, you can run between 20 to 50 gallons in an hour. What you're actually doing is this is replacing an IV bag, and you're only dripping it in 1 or 2 cups or 3 cups over 5 minutes. You hold it for 10 minutes and 15, and that's it. So that's to actually clean out, and then you can go toilet. The second one you can put in if you want is what the retention part is. So a lot of people do it in a 2-step process as well. And the cleansing enema is basically using coffee. You could use raw cacao, all sorts of things, wheatgrass. There's no end to this. They're starting to use a lot of cannabis in there too as well, cleaning. And again, you think I'm joking, go to theCureZone.com. That's where your liver gallbladder flushes are that you can do and actually get rid of gallstones and tumors. And literally, I used to take out sometimes between 1 to 3 pounds per session with my clients. Amazing. I'm not the only one that thinks about it. But CureZone.com is a very famous site. Again, there's the Eden's Garden. I just showed you one. You can go to many different suppliers. Like I said, I've got Young Living. I've got doTERRA here. HealingSolutions.com. I've got Mountain Springs in front of me. And I've also got a new one too with New Directions. But these have got some great little kits in whatever size. This is actually, you know, if you don't want to go into the MLM, this is direct suppliers. And these are therapeutic, by the way. I've checked these out. Okay, there's our Bliss Balls. There's your models using it, stuff off Facebook. Tons of stuff here. Fudge balls we can talk about. And there again, I don't know, there's the bride and the bride's mother, and there's the, you know, guy trying to become the groom. I don't know what they're doing here. But they're all obviously then. This is why we said we got to get rid of the bride price and all that kind of stuff, right? That's that whole monetary system, ceremony monetary, you know, money, money, money. And again, using the cacao and stuff, getting people happy. These are, again, all the tribes used to do it. It was, you know, it was a global enjoyment thing on this planet. We should, again. Raw chocolate pudding tarts. Oh my gosh, you should see me make that. And those are the goji berries up there. I've got some soaking in here right now for the chocolate to show you. Again, these people are gathering. They're having fun. This is what the picnics look like, not, you know, KFC. We're seeing lots of this, you know, instead of, you know, and again, you can use it for foot rubs. You can do it all sorts of things. There's no end to creativity here. And again, a lot of stuff too. This is going into just using a hemp smoothie, using your hemp hearts. Again, back to the original, where did we send some of this stuff? Father Hippocrates. Food is supposed to be their medicine.
Right.
There again, you can see doing hot cacao. And again, cocoa is different. Cocoa is cooked. Cocoa is dangerous. So is like Kit Kats and Mars and bars and stuff. Again, make your own. Only takes seconds. Hot chocolate takes only a few seconds to make. And again, putting these cayenne pepper, cardamom, stuff like that in there. Nut milks.
And not in the microwave.
Nope, not in the microwave ever. I don't know why. You know, we were supposed to have a thing and only Mad would make a machine to put it back in. Okay, this is actually what we have, harvesting cacao. So it actually, you can see it comes out white. It's very kind of milky. And you know, men were never allowed to touch this. It was considered to be a very holy, spiritual type of thing. And it was considered to be just, again, right up there, the closest to creation. So men were not actually allowed to handle this at one point. And so a lot of those mamas down there still don't. You may have to even train with them for, you know, 3 to 6 months before they'd allow you to get near stuff.
No.
Okay, raw food chef again. I just saw Karen today, so it was another way to do it. Karen Calabrese. Raw chocolate, look at that. I want you to really see, this is what the ore is that comes off the raw cacao. Okay, you can get free ebooks, and again, Dave Wolf also, and these people know, is a superfoodist. You know, he's also got engineering degrees and all sorts of degrees. One of them was also a law degree. That's what a JD is, a Juris Doctorate in law. Cacao ceremonies, healing, again, kirtans. I love singing kirtan. Those people that do yoga, just look up kirtan, and this is using what we do a lot. It's the sound, the music, and the cacao together, and frankincense. So learning to deep breathe and just relax. That's why we're so happy and mellow. You know? And there again, Guatemalan, but again, seeing that love affair, and again, with the hand slightly roasting, like you see. Remember, chocolate is being roasted here slightly, but it's a raw. And the other thing too, you can sometimes see is basically coffee is actually green. Again, another restaurant, Leaf. Love on a Plate is amazing. This is one of my favorite things. Look it up on YouTube, and they've got all the recipes for free on YouTube, but here's the actual book off of it that Kara Brotman, who was one of the first raw food restaurants out there, and Marcus Rothkrantz. Marcus Rothkrantz, by the way, if you Google him, he's a leading authority on foraging wild foods. Also, he was a consult to the military because he grew up and started teaching them how they could use raw foods and thrive during radiation. So he's also a radiation, on how to be radiated. Lots of different recipes there. And again, you can add things in, like make it like matzo pan. I use peanut butter, cacao butter, raw nuts, that sort of thing, raw cashew, raw almond butter. So they can replace things like Reese's Peanuts, you know, pieces and the stuff like that. And if that's not enough fun, we talked about Kama Sutra, but here's makeup for women. These are actually fruit-based and raw cacao-based. So how exciting is that? Is to actually, if you want to look great, you might as well get a little mineral content out of it too.
And that would go way back even to the Egyptians, Mayans, and Aztecs, correct?
Yeah, that's exactly before then. And so they would use it for mineralization and stuff like that. And so everything was done out of charcoal and different minerals and stuff too. And that's actually, we're seeing eco paints and stuff being done too. So those paints can actually translate to what you're painting your home in. You can get plant-based, eco-friendly paint these days. So I was dealing with some of that up there. So isn't that amazing? I mean, this is actually kind of fun. And, you know, there's one that's the raw food vegan stuff too. And like getting all natural toiletries and bamboo and hemp-based clothing and hempcrete buildings and stuff now. And again, they deflect it. This is off marcusrothkrantz.com. Again, what is he doing just for making that chocolate? Because I showed you the raw cacao, a little bit of vanilla, put in your essential oil, a little bit of coconut oil. And again, you could put in some nibs if you want to, or coconut oil, and play. Agave, maple syrup, whatever, knock yourself out. And he just does it too. You can use it on just a pie plate or anything else. There's no end to your creativity. Okay, and there again, there's some stuff again. Most of us goof around and have fun on, on Facebook. You're bound to get one of our recipes one of these days. Okay, again, different things we're talking about. Raw chocolate is up there again, milks, foods, salads, how to do things, put a little bit of spice in your life. A lot of people have seen The Secret a couple of years ago, and I was down in LA when this came out and was with Robert Kazar. But Michael Beckworth, so that was part of that. Mike Adams, most people know about the Health Ranger. There you go again, another nutritional expert. Does some excellent stuff. And again, these are different models that you can see, and these are actually like your raw brownies and stuff. I mean, that's pretty cool. You can actually play with that. That's fruits and stuff sprinkled on there. So, I mean, it can be really colorful. You know, it doesn't have to be boring.
Right.
Okay, raw treats again, hazelnut avocado mousses. Naked Chocolate is one of the famous books. I have all these books, by the way. And making suppositories. You know, like I said, we can do all sorts of things. I want people to know that when they have low back pain or all those things, every one of those segments you can see, they run off to another organ. So let's say the rectum, it kind of deals with everything below your butt. And as you work up, you're working up a chakra, or playing up a chakra. So if you went down on the other side where you can see that little thing, like the appendix, you know, going into just above the ileocecal valve there, that would be actually your head. So everything on the right side is actually correlates to the 5th, 6th, and 7th chakra there. So if you're having problems, you know, from your neck up, there's the problem right there on that colon or one of the segments to go up. So that's actually the way to do enemas and colonics. Everything in the transverse colon, again, anything the chest and the heart, and then you can play all your way down to the other chakras. So it's very imperative to do enemas and colonics, but it's another way to get a delivery system in there. And again, just when you think, you know, all these foods are really great, oh, my mangoes are great, my strawberries are great, and they're also, blueberries are great. They're only like in the, not even 100 in the antioxidant scores. And this is the ORAC scores, by the way.
Can you elaborate?
Yeah, that's we talked about it in our other thing the other day with the oxidant reduction radical capacities and stuff. And so this is dealing with free radicals. So the higher the antioxidant score, ORAC score, then the better it is for you.
Zoom in, I mean.
I'm going to bring it in. Let's see if I get it. I got a plus sign. There we go. We'll bring it right up in there. Okay, this is from Brunswick Laboratories. And just to give you an idea, though, where you see the cacao powder is like close to like 995 or 955, close to 1,000. I will tell you that the essential oils start sometimes in the tens of thousands, right up to clove oil is 1 million. So if I'm going to start playing with all the scriptural oils, like, you know, frankincense and myrrh, they blow this off the chart. So really your top superfood is always essential oils.
Right.
Okay, so that's why I said I'll take the raw cacao essential oil. Again, different things. They're made with red peppers, fine spices. So a lot of the stuff they do at Sacred Chocolate will have, like, you know, maybe 15, 20 different herbs in. And again, this was like they talked about the beam of light coming from that star carrying the cacao tree. Or do we call it the DNA, or do we call it the tree of life? The DNA, the triple spiral, you know, going to the paradise, going to the heavens just from eating this. So it's really interesting when you see the decoding of some of this stuff.
Right.
Again, avocado, cacao, just giving some moms some different ideas, you know, instead of like, you know, using the, you know, dairy and stuff too, which causes such incredible brain damage and digestive tract. Again, they're using flours and wheats and eggs and dairy, and what it does is it compounds it. It actually starts becoming a lot of things like Elmer's glue almost inside. You know, the people using, let's say, margarines and stuff, I mean, that's basically liquid plastic. So again, the Aztecs were, you know, it's part of their creation story here. Very interesting. Again, look up the thing, raw food, going raw in 30 days. Again, a different approach, and it is hot food, as you saw there. There's our cacao butter, and we can actually use that and coconut butter and stuff like that instead of dairy butter. Creme brulee, there isn't anything we can't replicate in better. This is one of the books I have actually in the kitchen today. I've got others all up at the different nations up by a tape coop where I am. And again, Matthew Kenny is another excellent raw food chef and stuff too. Excellent, guys. Enjoy it. Knock yourself out. Again, we don't have diets. We have, do you see, we're going to be calling them limits. But most people are used to that. It's still weird. I always laugh because we are Gnostics. Part of the Gnostics is to know, right? Diagnose means to die before you actually know what you're doing. That's why the medical doctors give you a diagnosis. So I never diagnose anyone. That's right up there with spelling and doctor and priest and lawyer crafting. Very cool. And again, curling photography. How exciting do I want to be? That exciting. That's what our cells look like. It's like having a nuclear excitement radiation from the inside out. That's a curling photography off cacao and stuff. And again, making scrub masks, stuff like that. You only need a couple ingredients, and that's basically all we're using here. And that's kind of what we're going to be making today. You know, just a cup of some cacao butter, a little bit of oil. And again, I would advise not using honey myself. It's very acidic when you're toxic. So again, the original way to do it is, you know, maple syrup is sometimes better, or other different forms of doing things like that. So how exciting is that? All you're doing is you can do the double boiler, remove it from heat, and throw it onto your ice cube trays. I don't think it's, you know, too much of the rocket science, right? So something that we can all do very, very easily, not difficult. Again, we talked about Gabriel Cousins going raw in 30 days. I don't care, just stick whatever your condition, reversing depression in 30 days, reversing, you know, cancer in 30 days. What is it you're going to change,
right,
you know, in your system? What do you wish to change? Have your own sacred thing. And again, this is David Wolf. Sacred geometry is applied into their stuff too. So when you see they put their things, he was actually, David, like I said, being a lawyer. Steve Adler was also from the Jet Propulsion Laboratories. So these guys actually, he's literally a nuclear, he's basically a nuclear, like a aeroponics, kind of physicist sort of thing, from the jet propulsion. So these guys are literally rocket science. So there's Ormus and all sorts of things like monatomics and stuff put into these. They even make it at 1.44 ounces, for those people who know the 1.44. And again, maple syrup is used, inulin, xylitol, erythritol, stuff like that. And again, handmade with love. Elixirs, there's your sacred chocolate, just to give you an idea, and they use lots of things. Santos Bonacci's, if people have never looked at some of the stuff, animali, what it really means, it's the spirit and the male or animal, and basically the desecration of the spirit inside. It's a huge thing. So words are very, very important. This goes way back before Upper and Lower Egypt and Stonehenge, way before the pyramid, and what things really mean. So I'm going to really, if you want to learn a little truth school or what they call astrotheology, this will be a whole new education for people too. And again, lots of chocolate things. I just brought up Garden of Life, that's up on the upper right. There are some that are all raw food meal replacements too. Shazzy was the other one that did Naked Chocolate book with David Wolf. Again, strengthen the skin. How many people are having skin issues right now using cacao butter? And again, just simply doing a smoothie is not difficult. Just putting a cup of coconut milk or water or hemp milk, and then putting organic banana with a number 9 sticker, using some cacao, a little bit of, again, original hemp seeds, chia seeds, and some maca. It's not rocket science, and that is a full meal replacement that has every mineral, vitamin, everything you need in it. You can add it to greens, and there's a new idea of someone, I just put it up for someone. When you were taught Canada's Food Guide or the Standard American Diet, David Wolf, a lot of them you'll see different super raw food are versions of them. So, but and I use pine pollen instead of bee pollen and stuff like that too. You go for more of a vegan point. But I just want to show someone what actually food pyramids look. So if you know the levels of consciousness, they're going, well, maybe there's a 10th level. We got to get beyond that too. Suppositories I'll talk about too. And again, the best way you absorb in the mucosa or the lining of the mouth is also through the colon. So the best delivery thing. So when I put peppermint in my, essential oils or in a suppository or something like that, I can actually taste the peppermint within a few minutes. If you're cleaned out, you should be able to. And again, this is what we're seeing is how to do, suppositories and how to make things like that. And I just use ice cube trays. You don't have to have all the supplies. You can, prefab it. This is actually someone just used a mold form, aluminum foil one, and she just melted down some of the raw cacao and coconut oil, threw her essential oils in there, and that's another way to do it. These ones were being made, I think, for respiratory purposes. So if people have had asthma, high blood pressure, so they use raven in there, and they use some frankincense and a few other essential oils.
It's so simple.
It is so simple. Not hard. Again, what I've also done too is I've used aluminum foil. The other thing I've done too, and by the way, I just found pictures of everything I've done, rather than doing 101 things today. I've done these all myself. So I've actually got straws out. I usually use the thicker ones, and you can pour that same thing. Just make sure you pinch off the end of the straw, stick it in the freezer, and then you can just cut it down to whatever you want. That's how we used to do this. How they've always done stuff here. Triglycerides, anyone with high blood pressure and stuff, again, people with cancer of the prostate, rectum, cervix, breast cancer, anything, children attention deficit, all this kind of thing. Put the nutrients back. Cacao butter, the theobroma oil, and that's making suppositories for, it's not about just colon issues. This is not that. That colon represents everything, all 33 feet and vertebrae and everything through there. And again, there you can see it. There's my famous little aluminum foil thing. I don't care. I can prefab just about anything. Not difficult to do. And again, this is all over. It's on TED Talks. Again, there's the tree, open pod, it rehydrates, and then we change it into the different forms. We were laughing about, the whole thing in the Romans and everything else, and, the IMF funds, right? But we laughed here when I said, yeah, they were demanding the tributes and stuff being gold, maize, which is corn, by the way, cacao beans, cotton, jade, and other products. And if they didn't pay or you weren't actually growing these kind of items, around, or being a gardener, you considered that they would destroy their villages and take everything out and slaughter the inhabitants, which is basically a third world country, considered to be prisoner of wars, or used to be bands and reserves, but people in the country are now considered to be in that as well. Types of chocolate. What are you really eating in the store? How much nutrition is there? Virtually none for antioxidant. So if you look at from 0 to the other side of raw, that's 100% nutrition. Most people are eating things devoid of it. And when you actually put stuff devoid of it, that means that it taxes your system. You have to figure out how to deal with the rest of the toxins.
That's very important too, because when people think, well, chocolate's chocolate and the chocolate's great for you, but no, it's not. You have raw chocolate to get the full effect of it.
And that's the same thing we see with anything. It's like classifications of people in law. So that would be an hereditary, an original seed on the right. And this is kind of like maybe a little organic, and then maybe GMO'd, and maybe you're just, we don't know what you are, an alien. We don't know, It's the same thing. Maple syrup's got 3 different grades. Everything does these days almost. Essential oils have 4. Therapeutic, raw, right? Then you have organic. Then you have like pure, and then you have natural, right? Same thing. Lots of variations. What we can do to be inspired, add cashews and all sorts of stuff. We'll just go into that. Again, putting my jewel mates. Victoria Batanko. Look up these people. I'm just giving you stuff. I love Wade Lightheart, who is Wade McNutt, till the weekend I spent with him in Lavoie by Edmonton. And we were talking a lot, too, about water and pH, right? Measuring the pH of what people assume. We've taken 13 of the top bottled waters, and they were all acidic, all full of fluoride. So a lot of these smart waters and things that you see on the shelf are not what they are. And that's the same thing in food. But I just wanted to point out what people that are raw food and vegans can really look like. Not that I want to, but I did get to be his, health practitioner for him too. And he runs holistic, Yaletown Holistics out of Vancouver. So after that weekend, this is what he's now.
And on the bottled water, people have to understand there is no regulation on bottled water. So they can put anything they want into without even having to verify it. That's
why I go to, and I'm not the biggest one, but there are people that know about finespring.com, but I don't register anything. So my springs are wild and free, kind of like me. It's a noble right that I have to do that. Anyway, I just want to show when people go, where's your protein? I go, have you seen, do you know about Wade McNutt or Wade Lightheart, or do you know about Jericho Genesis Sunfire? I'm like, get with the program. These guys are huge, and he was like a runner-up, I forget, 13 different things to like Mr. Universe or something. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. And again, where's the protein? It's like, what do they eat? The grass, the nuts. So this is what you're really seeing in here. The iron, magnesium, your high percent of what's in there. And this is why people are getting healthy so quick on it. And again, you're seeing these solstices, winter ceremonies coming back. What are we doing? Releasing, regenerating, rejuvenating, igniting your inner child, your inner fires. Woody Harrelson's another raw food veganist. Again, adapted by, Aztecs is not the same as the Mayans, but it was from there, used instead of currency, and it still is, by the way. That's what is actually run between the people. And this is what we're going to be creating here shortly. And that is that simple. Not difficult, is it? Not difficult at all. No, so let's make it easy. So just in that little talking here, basically, we're having a little bit of a meltdown. And so as long as I have a little wood thing here, I got to watch here. You just actually, it's melting down quite nicely, actually. Can you see that? Yes, yes. Yeah, doesn't take long. So we haven't done too many things. So just to recap again, I put some cacao butter in, and I put a little bit of our coconut oil in. And again, whether it's virgin or whatever, we did that. And I put some essential oils in. And if you can get paste, that's fine. Paste is basically almost very similar to what the cacao butter is. That's optional. And so now we also put a little bit of vanilla in. And I put vanilla essential oil. But if you don't have access, I'm just showing the different things you can substitute. Right. Okay. If you really wanted to as well, there's nothing wrong with putting in, some people put in a little bit of oatmeal because I could actually make like haystacks. I could also put in a little bit of coconut oil too. We're seeing a lot of things coming out with our, it's called we have here at harmonicarts.ca, but you can look that up. That's with yarrow. It's a 5 mushroom in here. So I can add a little bit of this. This is where you'll start getting, let's say, shiitake mushroom, shaga mushroom, reishi mushroom, turkey tail, lion's veins, again, stuff like this. Or I've got some different things too. That's basically the organic coconut. If you don't want to have nuts, don't have nuts. If you want to have nuts, have some nuts. If you want some filler, you can grind up cashews, almonds, all sorts of things. So just make it into a liquid. I'm going to add a little bit of my cacao in here, and I just get it literally to the consistency that I like. So if I want to actually do something and make it a little bit thicker, I can. And the only thing right now I require is a little bit of sweetener. Too bad you're not here. It's almost just about perfect. So, and I haven't really put anything in for too much of a sweetener yet. So I've got some options here I'll give people. So if I'm doing it like as you consider me sugar, wow, whatever, we'll just say, it's people think diabetic friendly and all that kind of stuff. One is xylitol, and xylitol is a white birch sugar. And I'm just saying I can put it all in. It doesn't really bother me, and I have at times. I put in green stevia, which is natural, but if you haven't seen white xylitol, it's a white sugar replacement. But this is off actually the birch tree. It's birch sugar. And that's why you're seeing so much xylitol in your toothpaste and stuff. If you want, there's maple syrup, green label, number 3, most amount of minerals. You can put that in. And I've also done where you can get clear and what's called raw agave and stuff in here. So whatever you like, as long as it's not the white sugar and getting away from that corn syrup stuff. Okay, I'm all about that. Birch sugar can be done, things like that. And the other one I use a lot of now, I just about forgot, it's so delicious, coconut syrup. So again, from a tree. I don't care if you just put one in. I'm just showing you it doesn't hurt.
Right.
Okay? And so this can be used instead of stuff, people are doing that awful pancake syrup. But it's amazing. It's very, very nice and delicious and thick. The other thing is yacon syrup and stuff like that. So what we've done is I've actually got, and I'll just show you here, that was our little container. And we put a little bit of cayenne pepper in, and now we're ready to actually start scooping out. And again, I'm using wood here. I prefer to use wood. And the other thing I'll do quite often, a lot of times, is actually, let's say if I want to take coconuts or something, or hemp, you can actually decorate into the bottom here and put a nut or a raisin or something, or some fruit. Or I've made like a little truffle bowl. And sometimes, let's say if I'm really in a hurry or something like that, what we can do is get something called a date, or I might want to cut up a little bit of fruit, because this now could be a raw food fondue. So I could cut up oranges and apples and drizzle this all over them. And if you want to, what I have up here too, whether you can see or not, up there is actually a dehydrator. So this is where my easy bake oven comes in. So I could actually put them in, cut them up, and put up here and put them in the dehydrator. Right. And then you've got dehydrated, awesome, awesome food. Not difficult at all. But getting back to that, what we'll do is we're just going to actually scoop this out, put a little bit in, and then put it back into the freezer. Now, if I want to, what I can do is just freeze this, put it in, and give it 5-10 minutes. And let's say I want to start layering it like a layer cake or something, or I want to make like Reese's peanut butter cups. I could then make the second layer, go back and do that again. It's an amazing thing. There's no end to what the creativity is that you want to do. You can put things in like as a surprise if you want. What I've also been doing a lot of too is maybe, let's say, putting this, what we call maca in, M-A-C-A. That's from our bulk barn. You can put a little bit of it in it. It gives it more of a milky kind of a flavor. It's got a very deep, rich thing. A lot of people use it in their coffee now, like chai spices. And the super reds. So let's say I wanted to do, oh, this is gorgeous. It smells so much like strawberries and raspberries. You have no idea. You can just use this for tea, or just use it for a smoothie, or like a virgin margarita. you know, strawberry or raspberry or something margarita instead with ice. And this also gives it a natural berry sweetener. And use that in. And the other thing I've been doing is also using the protein replacement thing. So one of the ones I have in here, just to let you know, is that raw meal replacement. So there's nothing wrong with taking some of your vegan raw stuff too and putting a little bit in, because now what you're doing is it's now becoming a full meal replacement bar as well. So we have that. This is something, and if you look in the stores right now, that is actually powdered organic peanut butter, which is absolutely delicious. So you can actually put just a little bit, if you want it, powdered into that. But what I will do is put a little bit of powder and add just a little bit of spring water to it. And in seconds here, you actually have got now peanut butter. And so I will actually put that onto my chocolate and make my Reese's peanut butter cup. So it's another way to dehydrate. A lot of us will do, and if I'm going camping or something, or if I have to evac or bug out, I'm not carrying jars of stuff. And I'll never be taking like Chef Boyardee or anything canned or in a box or processed. Okay? You've got to remember, when I'm showing you this, this 1 pound represents 30 pounds of food. This pound, again, represents 30 pounds of fruit. People are paying for 30 pounds of junk when this is all fresh off the tree, dehydrated immediately and put into here. And it still has the living enzymes. This is almost as great as pulling it right from the ground. But this is putting the whole garden into here. And when you're paying in the stores per pound, this makes way more sense. All my clients, their food bills go down because they feel full. They take 1 or 2 of these shakes with a couple teaspoons and that's it. So a teaspoon is like you eating the whole damn salad bar. Right. You know what I mean? They're getting healthy very, very quickly. Okay, so there's a deep red there. Sometimes the peanut butter I have to make more because it doesn't last that long. This is great with bananas, by the way, or, you know, making this stuff like for children, you know, for ice cream and stuff. Like I said, we just do it a little bit differently. So the other thing too is if I want to decorate stuff and get really fancy, I can put some, you know, different things to make coconut sugar and make it all look pretty and stuff like that. And the other thing as well too, this was our super vegan protein powder for those of us up here too. That's amazing. That is so amazing. I mean, some of these things when I went to go look, this tiny little bit, you know, they want $15, $20, $30 or something insane in some of the stores now. This was like hardly anything, you know, and when I really think about it, you know, even the cacao, you're paying per weight. This makes all the difference. So the essential oils are really the medicine going in. This is just the delivery system. Now, for those people that don't have, you know, let's say a, you know, they're just using what they can. I've actually poured some of this and just done it straight like this into what you call a Rubbermaid or just the Tupperware containers. I do this all the time if I'm actually visiting friends of mine that are bachelors.
Use what you have.
I have to use what I got on hand. And so you can do that, and if I want to decorate it some, you know, nicely with some coconut and something like that, make it look all pretty up top, you know, and then put it in the freezer, and it's going to be done just within minutes, you know. And it's the same thing here. There's nothing to say right now. I actually couldn't put this into that little bit here. Take the aluminum foil, which by the way I use to cover the smart meters. I'll show you that later. And put that in, freeze it. I could use this actually as a suppository. Okay? And just get it in like that. It will freeze. You can just unpack that too. So that way I've got things all the time in here. So I wanted to leave you with some of that. A couple of things people have just asked me about is the essential oils. I keep taking and doing clients all the time here. I've got a spring water clock here. I will actually just show you here. Okay, that's the spring water with the spigot. And one of the things I'm looking at doing here is actually getting some housing and maybe a hot water tea or urn with, you can get a dial thermostat, is having that as your colonet, a colonic machine, the big enema. So there are different things in here. What I wanted to do is I've got all the kits here from Eden's Gardens. By the way, all these kits that you're seeing here are actually, we're all under $50 to $100. And that's the difference with going with some of the other suppliers that you know about that are not necessarily MLM. But I went to search this out, whether it's Healing Solutions or it's Eden's Gardens or New Directions or Making a Mess All Over My Counter. It's available, you know. And these kits were done here. Some of these kits were under $20. Okay? And Eden's Gardens was at least one of the ones that it came with 150 ways to do it. If you don't have using the essential oil desk reference that you and I both have at lifesciencepublishers.com or Amazon or whatever. The other thing too, if we need more minerals and things like that, I mean, you can put in extra monatomics and stuff too. Whether you've got added clarity, you've got MMS. I actually put some Solmac into that as well. So those people that have been following too, you can actually grind up. Solmac is sulfapostylate. It's an ammonium chloride, which reactivates the triple spiral. So I've been actually grinding this in and putting it in my water supply as well. Okay, so we can eat it or the sultaflasca, but it does come in a white powder, which I'll be looking at doing. So I'm actually going to grind this up too, and that's now going into my chocolates here as well. So we could actually put the sultapostylate. And those people that don't like that licorice taste, I can grind it up into there. So I can now have a little bit of sultapostylate in my chocolate. The other thing too is goji berries. Excellent. We'll put some goji berries into our hot chocolate. And I think while I've got you, I'll probably just make a really quick little ball. So it does not take me long. I'm diffusing, by the way, with essential oils in here. Say that again. I'm diffusing essential oils. These are cold air diffusers you can get. I prefer the ones at the back. It's called a Therapo or an Aroma Ace. But nonetheless, this is a cold air mister with essential oils right into the bottom. Okay? Not with water diffusers or nebulizers. I like this because the other two I prefer actually to this, but it's the same idea. You can cover a 1,200 square foot home in less than half an hour. And that's huge because you're changing the molecular structure, so you're keeping everyone's viruses, bacteria, and their negative energy and stuff out. Plus, you know, if we got chemtrails and radiation, it's changing the electrical field.
Right.
Okay. Very important to do these days. This is actually a mini chop. Okay. That's all we had here. I have to, like you said, go with the flow. Sometimes I come with my Vitamix, sometimes not. But basically, this is just a little mini chop. And the other thing I've been doing a lot with is just the NutriBullet. And all you have to do is get one of these NutriBullets. And again, these are like, usually the better ones are 900 watts to 2.3 horsepower, where you can make hot soups in here. And just for what I did the other day, I went to with Jackie Jensen and Patrick at Twigs and Squirrels, who I love. That's who keeps me alive when I'm in Saskatoon. They supplied basically most of these raw foods, by the way. And Herbs and Health was also helping, and Dharma Chakra in Saskatoon. And again, stuff like Conscious Planet and Hemp Grow and stuff with the hemp parts and stuff. These are direct growers. These are heirloom seeds. They're even better than organic. This is hemp hearts. Actually, all I did was I actually put in a little bit of salt, Himalayan salt. You can also add Soleil to that. So again, we talked a little bit about using Himalayan salt with spring water, becomes Soleil. So let's add just a drop of the Soleil into this chocolate too. Then we have the minerals already extracted. Back to here, we can put in, if I want to put in spices, I could put in garam masala, I could put in curry, Italian spices, almost anything you want. And basically what we do is we just grind up the hemp. And these come with a mill and a blender blade. So I can actually just grind this up, and we're gonna make like a hemp ball, bliss ball with cacao in 2 seconds here. So you can add the audience. Basically just using the hemp. And what I'm gonna do is gonna add my cacao into this here. And for a little bit of flavor, I'm gonna actually put some maybe coconut, or I could put a little bit of berry in it. We're gonna mix it up again. And we can either add water or we can do something else, and I'll show you in a second here. We're gonna make actually hemp milk. And so one of the things, like I said, we can just mix it up, and we're gonna put some liquid, and within seconds, I'll have a dessert ball. Having said that, I could just put the Italian spices, and I could have a hamburger or falafel burger and curry burgers. And this is, if you want to, you can grind a little bit of salad in there, or put some carrots and stuff too, or tomatoes, and have a garden burger in 30 seconds. So, I don't spend hardly any time in the kitchen, you can tell. I don't need to at this point. So that's one of the things in there that we're doing. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of water to it, or I could add cheese or anything like that to it. Mix it up. You can also, if you want a little bit, is put some coconut oil or something in there, or olive oil if you want. So, and because I just happen to love vanilla, and I'm gonna put some essential oils in here too. So I just put a little dash of vanilla in. And I think I wanna add some, like an orange flavor. Now, you can get wild orange or different oranges like that. You can also get blends like citrus fresh, or this one's called Uplift. I feel I should be uplifted today. And so it literally just goes back into the NutriBullet. And there actually you're gonna have, you can see it already sticking here. There's the ball.
That's like a couple seconds only.
Exactly. And there is actually your dessert.
And it tastes good.
You have no idea. It has like the most exciting taste. Not even good. If I wanted to, I could take a bunch of it and press it down into a glass Pyrex. This is actually one of my fun things I like to make. This is actually, as people know, a cup. Voila. So this is actually when you can do your fun things like cheesecakes and stuff. Okay. So that's on, like if you wanted to make ice cream cakes and stuff like that, and key lime pies and stuff like that. Is that looking cool or what? So that's just a few different ways to do that. That took me seconds to do. So what it can also do is press it down. We'll just make it into something. And let's say you want to like roll it in like peanut butter. Maybe it may get to the freezer. Shaga mushroom could be done into there, anything cut. Okay, so if I want to, while I've just been talking to you, remember we just did that chocolate, what, not even 10 minutes ago? It's already frozen hard. Okay, so I have some options. Maybe I want to put a little bit more of a, you know, put my little dessert thing in there and drizzle another little bit of chocolate on it. Okay, there's no end to what you can do. Is that simple enough?
Right.
Yeah, so one of the things too, like I said, if you don't have the NutriBullet, you can use the same processing in this mini chop thing. And that's the same idea. You know, whether it's whichever way you want to go. And it depends on actually what you've got for blades and stuff too with people on here. You can tell I wasn't the one that put this on and did put this away. There we go. I guess that was. Okay, so these are just those little mini chops. I have done it with like literally the ones you get at a Walmart or a Buck-O Two kind of places. Right up to the big Cuisinarts and stuff too. Like I said, you go with the flow with what people have. In this case, we can put in sunflower seeds. I can put in hemp seeds. I can put in flax seeds, all sorts of things. This one I'm gonna make this time though, but we're gonna use it by using it into, we'll say like a burger, okay? And there we go, cutting my head off again. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually just put a little bit of cayenne pepper in. And we're gonna put some salt. You could use black salt, Hawaiian salt, something like that. And this time what I'm gonna do instead, because it's gonna be a spicy thing, I have got actually stuff, let's say like I might have oregano and thyme, or basil and rosemary, things like that, essential oils. Okay, so if I want it to have like a pizza crust, this could become a pizza crust with quinoa or something, or just as is. So there's no reason why we can't do a lot of that stuff. So let's say I want to put some oregano in, I could do that. Or I happen to have some spices here. And some of the spices you can get, because we are vegans, you can actually get spices with dulse and stuff like that make it taste like seafood. So there's another way to do. Another one we have up here is another seafood one. But it could be Italian, it could be curry, it could be all sorts of very cool things. I have another one here with, you know, organic spices. So if I want it to be more of an Italian thing, or I want it to taste like, oh, instead of a salmon salad or a tuna salad or something along that line, I can put some of these spices in. It's all in the spice, really, you know, on that. Having said that, with the other one, I could have put in like lemon. I made lemon, you know, coconut bowls or different things. Depends what your taste is. So in this case here, I'm just actually going to do a couple of spices. And we could actually just grate in a bit of a carrot and a tomato or something. You know, I could actually put some lettuce in, or spinach, and maybe cut in a little bit of cucumber or something. You know, that sort of thing. It does not take long to do that. What you want to do with a lot of these, and these are all organic, never mind, by the way. And actually, this is an heritage heirloom I have at the local farmers market and stuff, or gardeners market. In here, if you're doing stuff like that, it is organic. I usually do take off the peel because they may have been sprayed or something. So if I don't know who grew it or what it was done, or it was grown with the city water with fluoride, I'm going to take, in case it was sprayed off or something, and get that clean right off. The other thing too is some tomatoes, onions. There's no end to what we could be doing in here. I'm going to show you the quickest garden burger you've ever seen. And this was not pre-planned. I can just do this off the top of my head at any time. Okay, there's a carrot. You could actually grate it in. You know, because I want this to be like a real fun kind of garden burger. I could put mushrooms into it. This is organic pepper, red pepper.
We want the viewers to be able to do it off the top of their head at any time also.
I know, everyone wants me to make an uncooked book, and I'm like, that would take time, and I've never duplicated the same recipe twice. I might want to put in cabbage for some color. And I'm just going by what's in the fridge. And I've got some spinach too. I actually sprout all the time, because right now I want living food. So here's my sprouts, by the way. And it could be a sprout burger, a lentil burger, anything like that. There's no end to what we could be doing. Mushroom burgers, all sorts of fun things. And if I really was thinking these people are really, really deficient in their food, I could go back to putting in my meal replacement here that we had with hemp and all-in-one food meal replacements. There's nothing wrong with putting a little bit of powder in these. Okay? And then basically it's just a matter of chopping it down, you know, in here. So you could make a little bit more nuts. I could put cashews in it. I could put in almonds into it, soaked overnight and dehydrated. There's no end to what we can do with this. And let's say you got a little bit of spinach, which I did get the other day as well. There's a little bit of spinach, organic spinach. It could go into my spinach burger as well. And all we have to do is just put our little blender thing on. And my burger is done. if you need to add, you can add a little bit of water to it. And instead of eggs and binding, sometimes what I'll do is I'll put in chia gel, but I usually put in psyllium. Okay, so there is basically an meatball. If I want to, I can move it then into the dehydrator and for 4 to 6 hours on low heat, like a, easy bake oven. That's like one of the best garden burgers I've ever done, by the way. So, just to let you know. I'll have to say this, it's like I don't usually do my recipes on top of it. That's what we're doing. We're having living food. And that's the message for people. And so, when they are not feeling well, we get the enema bags and we get things cleaned out. We get the pH litmus paper, a roll or a stick, and we get them back up into the living indigenous colors. Get your brain functioning again. We're doing overnight liver cleanses, liver gallbladder flushes at curezone.com. I gave you that before. There's your 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons of Epsom salt. And there it is in the pills because I don't like the taste of it always. But I can just take that in water twice at 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. At 10 p.m., just have a little bit of that olive oil, 3/4 of a cup, and a 1/4 cup of lemon juice or grapefruit juice, and go to bed. I'll get chunks of stuff out the next morning. It's not about having diarrhea. I don't go to the bathroom and have diarrhea. It's about getting things healthy and cleansed out. This is really excellent, by the way. It's too bad you're not here. You're missing a great great supper. Again, those are for fasting and cleansing. I get all my clients on 4 cups of lemon juice and basically making lemonade and putting, 4 cups of water, 4 teaspoons of either the agave or the maple syrup, a little bit of Himalayan salt, a little bit of cayenne pepper, and you can live on that indefinitely. That has every mineral, vitamin, enzyme, everything you require. And even if you do 4 cups that. And the last one I'll probably show you with here is, again, how simple is this? I went and showed one of the girls, I said, this is it. That was that Super Reds at the bottom. By the way, it's, half a teaspoon of Super Reds, a little bit of borax, a little bit of baking soda, and the Himalayan and black salt put together. That little amount is less than a tablespoon. If you do all that together twice a day in 2-3 glasses of water, that's enough to reverse, diabetes or cancer grade 4 within about a month.
Right.
Okay? That's your first step, is to get alkalized. Same thing. Bath salts, same thing. Borax, aluminum-free baking soda. There's my Himalayan salts in there. There's some black salts up there. I can throw that in the bathtub. I'm ready to go. I could add some olive oil or castor oil to that and make a salt scrub for the guys that are in the shower because they don't want to sit with them in a cold tub scrub. That's it. That's not very much. And that little amount is probably about 2-3 weeks worth. And that's enough to reverse all those diseases.
Right.
Even if you get just a couple bottles here, like I said, we have people put it into capsules. That's it. So I hope that was helpful. I don't know if you have any questions. And other than doing, the same thing again, just taking that, like we talked about, 1 cup of water is not hard. You're taking 1 cup of water here. And all I'm doing is I'm adding in the baking soda. That's it.
On the hamburger, can you warm that up?
Yes.
Like at 100 degrees or whatever?
I usually go between 105, some people up to about 115 pushing it, but between 105 to 115 to keep your enzymes alive, yeah. Here again, 1 cup of water, a little bit of baking soda. Everyone wants to see me eat this first, okay. There's your little bit of boron. It's just a mineral, look it up. And you can either put your salt right in it, or if you're pre-doing the Soleil, a teaspoon or 2 of Soleil. And then if you need a little bit of an energy mix here, agave, maple syrup, birch syrup, something like that. And then basically all we have to do is mix it up. And it only takes seconds to get this done, you know, and some people heat it on the stove. I don't bother. The only difference to add into that for the making it the master cleanse in would be put some cayenne pepper or smidge if you want. And if you don't have organic number 9 lemons, there's your number 9 sticker, the organic lemon. Put your lemon in. Some people are finding even organic lemons. This is an organic cold press I found, by the way, up here. And this bottle is equivalent to about 40 lemons. Something is better than not doing anything.
Right.
You know, and that's huge. It doesn't take much to do that. And this kind of taste, you can make it kind of taste like iced tea, kind of a fresca. It's got a bit of an effervescent to it right now. It's a great, you know, pop replacement. Right. And it's refreshing. Could be limeade or margarita, you know, with the lime. Or lemon. It doesn't take that long to make a change and to make the shift. And that's how to use your superfoods very easily.
And you know, what you just made there could be even replaced, like you said, for like Sprite, 7-Up.
Totally. If you want to take it out, a little bit of citric acid to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just put in a little bit. So I've got goji berries soaking. Goji berries, I just wanted a little bit sweeter. So there's lots of uses for stuff. Having said that, I can go back, check all my stuff. And there's all the fun stuff. You can start pulling things off here. Even there's like your suppository thing we just did. It's very great tasting, actually. Very great tasting. Okay, here's that one we did in the Tupperware. Done. You know, if you want to, knock yourself out. It's really too bad you're not here. You and your mom. Where's Colleen? Is she in the back?
That's when we're done taping, I'm going to make my own.
One of the things I will show you too. I'll move just to the thing. In the living room here. As I said, contaminated outside. That's the indoor grow tower right now. Just starting off, by the way. Now, if you've been following my saga here, what happened is I went up to the tiki coop and all the different reserves and stuff up north, trying to get rid of all these EMFs and stuff and educate the people getting spring water. Because the people that are, you know, running these bands and reserves are like no different than in the city. They have no education. They've been schooled, you know. But so just to let you know, well, I was gone for like a week and a half up there and camping and everything else. My roommate or whatever, the guy that was supposed to look after the place here, threw all my seedlings outside and tried them. So I've only been back a couple days, but I just wanted to show you. This is the rock wool. Since I've been back in a couple days, look how much has grown up here already. So these are just simply going to go into the ones that unfortunately perished here. And we're just going to basically put them in. I love this thing, by the way. It's my new like toy here. And I've got spring watering from Petrofta, and I'm monitoring the pH. But once you got them sprouted here, in about 4 or 5 days, you put them into these little cute baskets. Aren't they cute?
Yeah, yeah.
Put them in here. And there's a water pipe going up here. And you simply just plug them in. So you can probably hear it. It's not going now. I still have to get the little pager on it and put the rest of the lights up. But nonetheless, he's back to living again.
And then it automatically waters when it gets below a certain moisture level?
Yeah, I got timers and everything on here. There's 2 different timers. And the water just simply goes into here. I'll just go out and see if you can get that. There's simply a little water thing down here. So I've got the water, spring water in here, and the mineral solution. So that's actually where the water is with the fish aquarium. Oops. Might end up in there. There's a pump in here.
Yeah.
That's it. That's my extent to gardening. That will rotate a new crop every 2-3 weeks. So you can have a fresh salad every day for like a month there. And chard and tomatoes and beans and lemon trees or whatever you choose to sprout there. And that's actually what I've got my sprout guys here. This is like 2 days into sprouting here already. Even my like little sprouts here. There's radishes and daikon and all sorts of things here. That's just with jars. There's no excuse not to garden inside. So that's what we've been up to. Now you've been through the whole place here.
Like even if people have an apartment, I mean, it'd be so simple.
There's no excuses, there really isn't. In here, I've got the dehydrator. I've got, you know, doing some yoga positions or the 5 Tibetan rites. The pH charts are in here for them to consult. Essentials, how to use essential oils, and basically what we're doing in here. You know, so like I said, and this is what living food looks like in here. Parsley. We got chia seed and stuff for them every day. Chia pudding. You can add whatever fruit and stuff you want in here. Ginger. The other thing I've got for an ORP is actually just a pH water thing. If people want, that actually puts the back to a negative ORP. Because what you have is that spring water, the ORP and negative, or sorry, the negative ions only last about 24 hours after you pull it out of spring. Hydrogen peroxide, that's it, real fruit, number 9s and stuff. So that's actually a little bit in here, and I'm just going to show you one more thing here. See my cord, how far we go. You see the metal here? Right behind here on the other side of this wall outside is actually a smart meter. Very, very dangerous. Okay? And when he was coming up, every time they were going up through here, they were getting blasted, like being in a nuclear reactor, this close. Right? Another causative factor here. And I can stand outside. These are illegal and unlawful. But I want you to see what we started doing, like a Faraday cage up here. You see that?
Yes.
Okay. They have a digital here. This is not an analog. They're illegal and unlawful. And they're being wrapped up. And you can get actually, and it's still got to be grounded with a ground wire. And so you can look up smart meter covers. Go look at your smart meters. This is very, very dangerous. So everything out of this place has been slightly being transformed since we came in here, as you've been able to see. And so it's education, you know, right down to getting the beds replaced, getting all the coils out of here. Not sleeping on that, sleeping on something like a either hemp beds or eco-friendly mattresses.
What do the coils do?
The coils act like almost, and same thing with people in their organ generators. They're not done naturally. They're almost, some of these things are almost as bad as a cashew pen, you know?
Right.
And what they do is they actually draw that energy in. And what they do is while you're sleeping, it starts with the coils right below you. It fractures out your entire DNA. It's like watching the unwind the telomeres almost.
And you're talking about the old style coils in the mattress and box springs.
Yeah, absolutely. So I usually sleep, like I sleep on an organite bed to deflect all that. So I'm on an amethyst biomat. So I have little ones in the bedroom. And actually, maybe I will show you a large one here. And we'll just unplug that out of it. Oh, I don't know if you can see down here. I have to look, I'm getting a step back, so I gotta get resurfaced. But the idea is basically, it's an amethyst biomat. All these coils here are filled here with amethyst. There's like, this is a 40-pound mat, and it actually has got, which I get at biomatcanada.com. It has a little controller to it here. And we sleep on these mats, and they actually start neutralizing radiation This is our version. Instead of chemo and radiation, I use essential oils in this mat. This is more powerful form. It likes 80 times the far infrared because we've got the amethyst crystals that's magnifying it. I've had people paralyzed, get up and walk. I've had virtually everyone on every disease reverse on this. High blood pressure, mercury fillings, neutralizing nicotine, smoking, all sorts of things. Low back pain. It's an amazing bed. So that was at biomat.canada. So all my massage rooms, people used to be able to come in and just go on these. Some practitioners were charging like, $80 or $100 an hour, but I just let people do it for free at my center. And yeah, you just lie on it. And you can heat it up. It's kind of like having a sweat. This was a great replacement instead of those ridiculous hypothermal things they were doing for cancer. So you can actually lie right on this one and then have a baby one on top of you for women and stuff too, if you had breast cancer, colon cancer, stuff like that. So yeah, Christina Van Art's got that. So those are some of the very interesting and fun things that we do. That one's just going back to get resurfaced, but it's not difficult, on there. And same thing with my office and stuff too. We've got things in here too. And I'll just show you the little one, the Biomat one. Like I said, these are all the oils that just came in. All those were under hardly anything. I mean, people pay more for some. I mean, it was ridiculous. And we can show what's going on in here. And
they're still therapeutic grade.
Absolutely. And this is actually the Biomat, the little one. It's a mini mat. So it's a grounding mat, 0-point technology. You just plug it in. This has got amethyst and black tourmaline. So I'm not going to be directly on coils. You can get EMF transmitters and all sorts of things. And the idea is to have the crystals inside you and not using external things. So I know even on these computers, I've got, different crystals and 0-point technology and stuff. You can also, for here on the computers, get little stickers, magnetic crystals that will neutralize some of the radiation. That's the biofeedback machine here, by the way. So if we're doing skeo and stuff like that, that's what we have available, because I can actually beam this into you totally. And I can be in your home, in your office, or whatever with you, consulting with you within a matter of minutes, and actually do all your medical testing from wherever I am on the road. So that's the advantage of doing that. And like I said, I just want people to take a few different things with them. It does not take, it's rocket science, but it's not.
And on Project Ascension, me and you also did a lengthy skew session that people can look at to see exactly how it's done and everything. Yeah.
And like other than that, like just to do that, we could, just do a burger thing, just do a chocolate thing down the road. But sometimes it's just easier depending on what I have for time and availability. I mean, even for us, we've been trying to coordinate this for 2-3 weeks. So, and that way you can do that. And we could just do like, what to do like for your days, making the chew, putting up. The other thing I could do really very quickly that takes absolutely no time. Sunflower seeds, almonds that have been soaked. So it's sunflower, almonds, Brazil nuts, hemp seeds, anything like that. So it's basically 1 part, whatever your nut or seed is, and basically 2 parts water. I always put just a smidge of Himalayan salt or Soleil in it. And then whatever my natural sweetener could be. It could be berry, it could be maple syrup, it could be whatever. Put that in. And then all you do is get your lid, put it on, the NutriBullet. You put it down on the NutriBullet. I didn't even count. Maybe it was 8 seconds. 1,000. There's your actually hemp milk within 3 seconds.
Wow.
Nothing to make in it. There's no cows, no dairy, no whatever. Gluten-free, dairy-free, allergy-free, drug-free, vaccine-free. So that's a very simple way to do it. If I want to, I can put a little bit, like I said, I could put some vanilla in it. I could put some berries and make it strawberry milk, cacao milk, chocolate milk, however you want. And it's just right. What I can do if I wanted here, I could put mushrooms in here, and I'll make cream of mushroom, cream of carrot soup, cream of zucchini soup, and heat it up. So it could either be the milk. It could also go into our chocolates back here, right? If I wanted to. Take a little bit of milk. Now this is how you make actually dairy milk. So now you've got your raw chocolate here, and a little bit of hemp milk or almond milk, and you now have got more of a milk chocolate. That's really, really awesome. So these are different things that you can do. And I just wanted to take this, whatever people have, it's why they're not doing it, because there's no reason not to.
Right.
It's more cost effective, time effective, and this is what's sustainable and re-empowering people. And this is all stuff we can actually eventually be growing in our own places. Like you said, it's not that difficult. And enjoying it, because I want to be out there enjoying time with my friends, and whether I'm drumming or dancing or doing whatever we're doing down at the jazz festival the last couple of days, you know, out putting a teepee today. And that's where we need to be, is outdoors, not in here. And this is the kind of thing I showed you I can actually do at a camp. And I have done that camping for a week and just shown you everything. How we've actually been to camps where we've had a solar panel, and I just did everything I showed you on a solar panel. You know, there's no reason, you know, and a lot of this stuff can be pre-made up. It can be taken to if people are still working and going to whatever their career is. This goes on the road. I have thermoses. There's no excuse. I went and put the teepee up, and I fed everyone down there today with this kind of stuff, you know. And, you know, it was interesting to see the things also converge into, because people came in and were putting out the teepee, and, you know, never been with these people before. Medical doctor, different people. Injured, still using drugs, or someone brought out, well, a first aid kit. It had polysport. I said, well, we could just use lavender. I said, oh, I think you need just a bottle of lavender, get rid of the polysport, right? It takes care of everything. And I did. I've done first aid, triaging it, Lillooet, protecting the sacred, all week, no drugs. I had lavender, I had peppermint, I had wintergreen, and a couple of essential oils. That was it. That's all I need to nurse and doctor with for first aid. You know, coconut water, saline, salt water. That's it. I don't need anything else. And well, I need nothing, I should say, but we didn't require anything else. And then, you know, again, one of the guys too, he had just had surgery, so I just dumped in frankincense and lavender on his open surgical thing. And if he'd been using an alkalized, he wouldn't have had the knee surgery in the first place in Himalayan salt. Right. You know, and his wife is a doctor, a medical doctor here. So again, he says, can you call me as soon as you get back done and have a few free days? I want a consult. You know, it was the same thing. I watched the girls going out to do the tobacco, and they pulled out, I think it was number 7 or something. I said, is that Hopi tobacco at least? Is that like, you know, you're putting more cancer causing? I said, and tobacco is not cigarette. Do not confuse cigarette with what tobacco is. You know, I have tobacco essential oil here, you know, and I have clary sage, and I have sweetgrass essential oil, and everything in this collection. You know, there's no excuse, none. And, you know, that's an insult to my intelligence, but it's a start. And the funny thing is, the teepee was made by one of my friends, his mom, in the Sinayak, in the Open Nelson. So they thought that was ironic. Everything was kind of coming full circle out of my place today. Yeah. So anyway, I hope that was kind of helpful. Too bad you and, you know, your relatives, people aren't here. But anyway, that is so delicious in there. And by the way, what I do is when I fill up all these beautiful things, I always keep this in the freezer. Okay? Because this becomes medicine. If people come in and they're depressed or they're not feeling well, this is full of minerals, rich antioxidants, made with love. And there isn't anyone that doesn't feel better. And when I teach seminars, by the way, Andrew, they get spring water. They choose whether they want orange, lemon, or peppermint, or grapefruit in there, or spearmint, what they want to flavor their water with. And then what they do is that I wait and give them a chocolate. And I break that up, even with children in schools, which I taught a couple weeks ago at a couple classes, grade 7s, grade 8s. So we put that in the fridge. If there's leftover, most of the guys, you know, almost want to like, okay, who gets to lick the bowl? Because that becomes, I want you to lick the bowl. you know. If I want to, I can add some more of that spring water or whatever else and add more maca and stuff, and this becomes hot chocolate. If you've got a Vitamix like I do, you can whip it up within seconds. And it only takes me 3 minutes to make hot chocolate when you have the right appropriate stuff. But within minutes, this will be up and stirred into. And this is an incredible, that's how they actually make, very similar to some of these raw cacao ceremonies that you're seeing. You know, and this is the way we're moving up here. And we're seeing a lot of the, you know, people in their 20s, 30s, 40s. This is how their dances are going now. And they're putting away the alcohol and the drugs and stuff like this and going for this instead. Because they all feel naturally better.
Right.
You know, and why not? I mean, it just makes total sense. So there's my like hot chocolate just within a few seconds, just to drink down. And so it's delicious, you know, and you can do it. We might as well have the best time ever doing it, you know. And it's the same thing as well. If, you know, one wanted to make something, let's say, for facial or skin or spa stuff, it's the same identical processing, you know. So there's my hot chocolate right now within seconds. You know, frothy, and I mean, I could actually take the cashews and make cashew cream and make cheesecake with it too. I'm gonna be so excited I may not sleep tonight again. But one of the things I'll just show people is if they really wanted to do the cosmetics for the women or the men for skincare, because we're seeing a lot of skin conditions and stuff. If you can take the raw cacao butter again. Actually, I'll show you how to do it right now because now I have your attention. And we're going to put a little bit of the coconut oil in there. You don't need very much. It's only going to take seconds to do this, whether it's the suppository or skin cream. So a little bit of the cacao butter and a little bit of the coconut oil into it. And let's say I wanted to do it for sunburn or I want to do it for some other purpose. Remember your shea nuts and coconut, all your trees give you protection, right? So coconut oil, stuff like that. And what it can do now is go into things, let's say like lavender. When in doubt, use lavender. Okay?
Right.
And that could be for things in here. If you want for respiratory things instead of for breathing or shortness of breath or pain, I could put in some eucalyptus. I could put in some fir and some birch and peppermint. And have it instead of, you know, Vicks and all that kind of crap. Okay? And eucalyptus for breathing.
It's absolutely essential to stay away from all the petroleum products.
Yeah. You gotta, you know, wonder on some of the stuff, what's going on with some of the different people, you know, in there. I mean, they've been told so many different times. I mean, it's so awful. You can use stuff too. I've been using for citronella for bug stuff instead of DEET and Raid or whatever else and the bug off stuff. And it smells great too. And then I can just put it into a little container or something. Some people actually put their herbs in here. So they'll put in powdered comfrey or, I mean, if you wanted to put in powdered cayenne pepper, that's your tiger balm, like your capsule. So, I mean, if you want to make it like Ben Gay, you're going to put in your, you know, wintergreen and furs and stuff like that. It smells actually delicious coming up in here. You know, so there's lots of different things in there for cleaning, digestion, stuff like that. All the different foods are essential oils, stress relief, muscle relief. I've got fir back here and frankincense and stuff. You know, things like that. This is a little bit of white fir. This is, and again, you can do stuff that, you know, you use this for cleaning. This is what I put in the spritz bottles. This is what I wash the toilets with. This is everything in here. And muscle relief, you know, wintergreen and stuff like that. You know, there's no end to the different things that we can do in here. So that's already just took it a few seconds. It's already melted down. And all I have to do now is stick it actually into a container. That's it. There's nothing to make in this. So, trying to see what I haven't used already in this kitchen. Anyway, there you go. And that can go into the fridge. So whether you want to make that and put it into the suppositories, or you're going to use it as a skin cream, this is basically just coconut butter. It smells delicious. But anyway, this is edible, by the way. I mean, for people that, you know, want to enhance the stuff too, whatever, just get into that beautiful thing of putting, you know, you can make the real aphrodisiac and exotic oils in here too. These are actually what I was talking to Steve Adler about, the new Kama Sutra version of like love butter. So anyway, that's done. And all the stuff we just poured, minutes to do this. But I've got other things to be doing. Life is too precious to be sitting in the kitchen. And that's the next step to going to breatharian and solarian. So I was just watching something with David Wolf and Stephen Adler and stuff too. And again, this is stuff that, you know, I've got people that, you know, are involved in stuff too internationally and helping things, you know, with the clan mothers and the tribes and stuff too. And seeing the stuff now that's going on. I mean, there's huge things going down at Antarctica. You know, the cabals and stuff are being forced out. And I'm very grateful to the international forces, you know, assisting us as clan mothers and stuff. I think that's amazing. You know, things are really turning around. And what's not to be. You know, I had to educate that the, you know, tea people was going to the west this time, the doors. I said, there's been a pole shift, didn't you hear? You know, so all sorts of things. Lots of fun things are happening. There's no question about it. These are exciting times for people. Again, it's a change of doing things, but, you know, if we want to enjoy our time, then we might as well be doing it, you know, right or don't do it at all. So. Right.
Yeah. If somebody wants to get a hold of you.
Best way to get a hold of me, let's see, what is it? Clanmother13@gmail, so KLAN, mother13@gmail. Karen MacDonald or Karen Ann MacDonald on Facebook. Skype is called Karen Max at CALLEDKARENMAC. So those three things will usually do it because I'm on the road most of the time. I'm still seeing people that want sessions all the time and learning how to get off the grid or dealing with things. So it's just for people that, you know, are literally like, you know, really interested and very serious about getting their health changes. That's why I deal with clients and then do biofeedback for 45 minutes. You know, get them to lie down for 10, 15 minutes, start doing the session, get some education, talk to them for half an hour. Done. And then I send them to Project Incenssion, of course. Go watch our other 20, 30 videos. If you have questions about what's happening on right now, everything to do with our DNA, this is reactivating stuff. Soccerbit, SOCKERBIT.com is about all the Salmaic, all the stuff that former Sergeant Patty Broussardis got, and former Sergeant Daniel McMullen. But anything to do with radiation, everything with the full shift, there's no excuses. Patty's opened up the entire network of the entire satellite system for people to see. And as Patty set up with the U.S. Army and Freedom Team, and we've now got a green code, go green, and scorch earth command into effect, and there to clean out everyone that doesn't belong here. And there are a lot of things that we're doing right now. This is going to reactivate people to their original genius. It's going to make them feel better. And once we free their minds, we'll stop the things like these unholy crucifixes and EMF towers, you know. I've had the strangest 2 weeks, you know, between being on Fade to Black with Jimmy Church and having abductees walking in right into the kitchen where I was doing my radio show from, right? To strange noises we've been hearing. But yeah, going out there, going to look at the, you know, what we've got to feed the people. So looking at what we had for greenhouses and stuff up there, you know, it's an amazing thing. There's people that really are taking hold to this and really have made changes because they want to get better. So that's where I step in out. I will help people, you know, to the utmost that I can. And I'm really grateful to people. I've been with Ray and Kathy Muscapow and Pikikus you saw last time, but yeah, I'm going all over the place right now. You know, I'm getting little camps set up in every little area now. And it's great because, you know, when you do it, I see a lot of the youth that want to make changes there. And, you know, it's terrible when you start hearing about the drugs and stuff like that. And I mean, it's ridiculous. There was a 14-year-old girl that was raped up there on the grad night. And I mean, they know from the inside who's been doing stuff like this. They're telling us. And the people that are running there, you know, scamming people, you know, going and putting up buildings with their names on it. And the people that are running these bands and chiefs and how they've been actually doing it, rigging all the votes and stuff like that and going around getting the 500 votes and everyone's related to them. And they're scared. And I went, this is ridiculous, you know. And the thing too is half of them I'm finding aren't tribal anyway up there. A lot of them are RH negative. They're not even tribe. They're not even allowed to be up here. And these are the people running the bands and the reserves that have infiltrated into the tribes and the indigenous people for years. So people assume that they're red or they're indigenous, but they're not. So it has nothing to do with the color of the skin. It has to do with who you are in your bloodline and your MT mitochondrial DNA. And so I want to put that out to people because people get fooled by a lot of these people. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And their days are numbered and they're on their way out and they will be arrested and removed. You know, and the stuff that they put up, like these churches and RCMPs and EMF towers and Gwen towers right on the Banner Reserve is a direct violation of every international, you know, covenant treaty that can only be authorized by a clan mother.
Right.
And I don't care what they signed for legal contracts and stuff and sold their women away, and then they complain that they're in trouble because their own people are going down now. So it's, you know, irrelevant to me. They don't have any diplomatic immunity and never will. So it's that simple. You know, so right now we could just deal with those people that, you know, like they said, have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, and they're willing to make the shift themselves, you know, on there. So I've got stuff to do, and, you know, I will just share this. It means a lot. So just to let you know, I've been taken to the different lakes and the Hopi lakes and all these sacred sites and vortexes and ley lines and dragon lines and all this sort of stuff. And I go in and I feel like shake and bake. It's like, go down Korean, you know, and watch your back out, walk your back in. And they watch. And so the indigenous people are sitting back there watching. And all of a sudden when I was taken, they saw all the 4 eagles around, you know, so there was like bald eagles and there was like all sorts of golden eagles, everything up here. And they very rarely, and they're all circling, all these eagles all at once. And they said, oh, all the 4 grandfathers are here. That Karen, that's huge. Then I went up to one of the highest points that there is. You could look out over everywhere kind of stuff, right? Or, you know, overlook a lot of large private lands and stuff. And I said, Cap, this is so much fun. It reminds me like being on the capstone of the, like, you know, the pyramid. You know, honestly, it's over by crown lands anyway. And I looked at this kind of thing, and I noticed that at that point, all the eagles and stuff would never come above me. They were always below me. And so it was a very sacred sign, which bears, you know, I went out and there was bears. The other night we were out here on the river landing, and there were bears. They're not usually in any of these areas on part of the prairies here. And so that was the other thing too. Before I went to deal with this sacred spot, you know, and unfortunately there was a child apparently killed there 40 years ago. Then, like I said, a little playhouse of an Anglican church puts up. Again, these things are done masonically and big, you know, plaques, you know, for residential, all in upper capitals, right? And all the rest of their families they mean to kill.
Right.
We see this masonically thing when you go into the, you know, this little ring, and it's all done in a Masonic thing. It's very easy, run by 5 solar panels, right? And the deep underground military bases and the army bases that have been there that I haven't forgotten about, you know, and UFOs going in. I'm having a very interesting time. That's all I'll just say. It's very exciting. It's a very exciting time to be alive. I'm glad I could do that. But I see what's happened to the people, and some of them are so ready for the change here. They want to be self-empowered. They want to do that. And this is watching people, just give them a little bit, and they're just blossoming. Absolutely blossoming. So, and like I said, even to the point, we're all seeding. There's your heirloom seeds. You know what you're doing. That's all I can say in there. And even for something as simple, you know, shampoo, it's coconut. You know, like I said, apple cider vinegar, do what you want on it. It's just getting to be, you can do stuff too. Anyway, I think that's probably enough for today. It's probably been like an hour and a half or something.
Excellent. Excellent information.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably used to wanting the hot chocolate. I don't know.
I'm dying to get off so I can make mine that you've already made.
Yeah, that was part of the thing too, to do the TP teachings and teachings. I said, where do you think everyone got it from? The original lodges, right?
Right.
So explain to all the girls, like, the skirts down to the floor and the TP, the canvas goes down, and it's a very interesting time. So, this is excellent. This is seriously one of the better ones I've ever made. I'll have to watch the video and see how I did it again. But, no, this is actually amazing. It's very exciting food. This is what gets people excited. And, who said we need structured anything? I'm more into the wild, noble, stuff. That's what your noble rights are.
Right.
I don't think I've got anything left to say anymore today.
That was excellent. We'll be making more. So much more to offer, so much more to teach and say. So.
Yeah, and I'm really excited too. We'll have 2 more steels up and running here shortly. So we're getting that from the QX subspace, the immune, and also with the IQUAM University. That's the Integrative Medical Universities and stuff, and Dr. Bill Nelson that did the SKIO, Indigo, and F-Doctor. So we're just waiting to get the upgrades on that. That's why I'm still hanging out in here and enjoying the Jazz Fest on the river landing. I even looked. I just have to show one thing. I go down there by the Ramey Center. I'm having all my deja vu, and remember drumming along the they've got like a cruise boat up here, like a double decker, and I'm having so much fun. We're out dancing the other night, and I go down to the spray park, and I see all the arrays that I know are really antennas, with them. And remember the CERNs in Saskatoon. So now I'm looking for the water treatment plant. I'm going after them next. There's lots of stuff being put in besides this fluoride.
Right.
Okay, this is a huge mine psyops here in the Circle Drive, which could look like the same size as the Circle of CERN here, by the way. But you start looking at this kind of stuff, and I looked out the spray park, and it has every water thing, the Battle and the Old Man River, and everything from all my different places where this started, and all the chemicals and all the forts there. So hidden in plain sight, yeah, I just saw it all.
All right. For the viewers, anything you missed, just go back through and pause, so you can see exactly what was said and stuff. But excellent information. Thank you again, Karen.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Well, take care.
You too.